The Alibaba Group stock has continued to fall. But Porter Erisman, former vice president of Alibaba, defended his previous employer by saying the market is overreacting. The Alibaba Group's stock has been dropping recently, and what's your comment?
When Alibaba's stock went up from 68 to 120, there was a lot of talk about how great the company was. And then when the stock went from 120 down to 66, they said, oh, this is a terrible company. I mean, if anything, it just proves to me that a company shouldn't be focusing on what the investors say. Because actually in that 1 year, almost nothing changed about Alibaba. The only thing that changed was the outsiders' perceptions.
When Alibaba went public a year ago, it was a top pick for investors. Its initial public offering was the biggest in history. But what followed was a dip in stock and the outflow of money and investment. Though Alibaba's shares have slid below its IPO price of $68 per share, Erisman isn't surprised.
Given that China's economy has been, maybe the growth rate has been slowing just a little bit, that seems pretty reasonable to me.
Erisman worked for Alibaba between 2000 and 2008. When he first joined Alibaba, he was told the company would go public in 1 month. But when the internet bubble burst around 2000, the idea was soon abandoned. Nowadays, many Chinese companies take IPO as their ultimate goal. They compete with each other for that goal. And how would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, an IPO is not the finish line. An IPO is actually the starting point. As Jack Ma would like to say, it's like going to the gas station to fuel up on gas to get ready for a long ride.
And what do you think is the optimal time for a company to go public?
IPO shouldn't be the goal. If you're just chasing an IPO, it's easy to get lost because you're just trying to make a great story for investors. Much better to build a great company that focuses on the customer, and then an IPO will come naturally someday.
When Alibaba was first launched, e-commerce and even the internet in general hadn't taken off in China. By focusing on empowering small and medium-sized businesses, the company was one of the first to help e-commerce take root in China. How do you think the success of Alibaba would inspire the e-commerce in other developing countries?
It used to be that people would compare themselves to Amazon or eBay. But now when I go to India, when I go to Nigeria, it's really the case that people say that they're trying to build the Alibaba of India or the Alibaba of Africa. And so this is the lesson for countries like India or in Africa. The places where the infrastructure is the least developed, actually in the long term, that's the greatest opportunity.
Erisman wrote Alibaba's World, how a remarkable Chinese company is changing the face of the global business, in which he recalled his experiences working for Alibaba. Jack Ma believes in instincts and the Taoist philosophy, and how are his managerial skills different from those taught in Western business schools?
Ma Yun tends to move quickly, he makes decisions based on his instinct, and really focuses first on action and then learns from mistakes and then adjusts. And then the Western MBA style is more to analyze and research and plan and then finally take action. And so what I really learned inside Alibaba is that as an American fitting between these two cultures, I had to be quick to move and adapt, and really Jack Ma always focused on getting me to take action, even if it meant making a mistake, because action was more important than just analyzing things.